Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Integrated discourse analysis. Integrated discourse analysis refers to an approach that combines various methodologies and theoretical frameworks to provide a comprehensive understanding of language use in its social, cultural, and historical contexts. This method acknowledges the complexity of discourse by integrating both micro-level and macro-level analyses, as well as qualitative and quantitative techniques. By doing so, integrated discourse analysis aims to bridge the gap between different analytical perspectives, offering a more holistic view of how discourse functions in society. This approach is especially useful for examining how language constructs meaning, identities, power relations, and social realities across different contexts. Integrated discourse analysis draws on multiple theoretical traditions, such as linguistic, sociolinguistic, critical discourse analysis, conversation analysis, and corpus linguistics, among others. It allows researchers to analyze discourse at multiple levels, considering both the immediate interactional dynamics and the broader societal influences on language use. 1. Key features of integrated discourse analysis: combining micro and macro-level analyses, bridging individual interactions and societal contexts. Integrated discourse analysis combines micro-level analysis, which focuses on detailed aspects of language use in specific interactions, e.g., turn-taking, politeness strategies, speech acts, with macro-level analysis, which examines broader societal structures, ideologies, and power relations that shape and are shaped by discourse. Micro-level analysis examines the nuances of language use, such as grammar, vocabulary, conversation structure, and interactional strategies, to understand how meaning is constructed in specific contexts. Macro-level analysis focuses on how discourse reflects and constructs social norms, power dynamics, ideologies, and institutional practices within a society. Example: in a study of workplace communication, an integrated discourse analysis might examine how turn-taking and interruptions occur in meetings, micro-level, while also considering how these interactional patterns reflect and reinforce organizational hierarchies and gender dynamics, macro-level, incorporating multiple theoretical perspectives. Utilizing diverse frameworks for a comprehensive understanding, integrated discourse analysis draws on various theoretical frameworks to explore different dimensions of language use. This multidisciplinary approach allows researchers to analyze discourse from multiple angles, enriching the analysis and providing a more nuanced understanding of how language functions. Linguistic perspectives focus on the structural aspects of language, such as syntax, semantics, and phonology, to understand how linguistic choices affect meaning and communication. Sociolinguistic perspectives explore how social factors like age, gender, ethnicity, and social class influence language use and how language reflects social identities and group memberships. Critical perspectives investigate how language is used to exercise power, construct ideologies, and maintain or challenge social inequalities, often drawing on critical discourse analysis, CDA. Example: an integrated discourse analysis of media representations of immigration might use linguistic analysis to examine how metaphors and lexical choices construct particular images of immigrants. At the same time, it might draw on sociolinguistic theory to explore how these representations vary across different social groups and on critical theory to analyze how these discourses reinforce or challenge xenophobic ideologies. Combining qualitative and quantitative methods. Leveraging the strengths of both approaches. Integrated discourse analysis often employs both qualitative and quantitative methods to analyze discourse comprehensively. By combining these approaches, researchers can identify broad patterns in language use and explore the meanings and implications of these patterns in depth. Qualitative methods involve detailed, interpretive analysis of texts, conversations, or other forms of discourse to understand the meanings, functions, and social implications of language use. Quantitative methods involves statistical analysis of language features, such as word frequencies, collocations, or sentiment, to identify patterns and trends across large datasets. Example: in a study of political speeches, integrated discourse analysis might use quantitative methods to measure the frequency of key terms like freedom and security across a corpus of speeches. It might then use qualitative methods to analyze how these terms are framed and how they contribute to constructing political ideologies and appealing to voters. Contextual analysis. Understanding language use in its social, cultural, and historical contexts. Integrated discourse analysis emphasizes the importance of context in understanding language use. This involves considering the immediate context of the interaction, as well as the broader social, cultural, and historical contexts that shape discourse. Immediate context includes the specific setting, participants, and purpose of the interaction, as well as the linguistic and non-linguistic cues that influence communication. Broader context encompasses the social norms, cultural values, historical events, and institutional practices that influence language use and interpretation. Example: in analyzing a courtroom trial, integrated discourse analysis would consider the specific context of the trial, including the roles of the judge, lawyers, and witnesses, and the rules of legal discourse. It would also consider broader contexts, such as the historical development of legal systems, cultural attitudes toward justice, and societal power relations that influence the trial's discourse. Dynamic and flexible approach. Adapting to different research questions and contexts. Integrated discourse analysis is a dynamic and flexible approach that can be adapted to different research questions, contexts, and data types. This flexibility allows researchers to tailor their analysis to the specific needs of their study, using a combination of methods and frameworks that best suit their research objectives. Adaptability. Researchers can choose which methods and theories to apply based on the nature of the data and the research questions they seek to answer. Iterative process. Integrated discourse analysis often involves an iterative process, where findings from one phase of the research inform subsequent phases, allowing for continuous refinement and adaptation. Example: in a study of social media discourse about mental health, integrated discourse analysis might begin with a quantitative content analysis to identify common themes and hashtags. Based on these findings, researchers might then conduct a qualitative analysis of selected posts to explore how mental health is discussed and how these discussions reflect broader societal attitudes toward mental illness. Critical reflexivity. Acknowledging the researcher's role and bias. Integrated discourse analysis emphasizes critical reflexivity, recognizing the researcher's role, biases, and positionality in the research process. This involves being aware of how the researcher's perspectives and assumptions influence the analysis and interpretation of data. Reflexivity encourages researchers to reflect on their own assumptions, values, and positionality and how these may shape their analysis and findings. Transparency promotes transparency in the research process, including clear documentation of methods, data sources, and analytical decisions. Example: in a study of gendered language in advertising, an integrated discourse analyst might reflect on their own experiences with gender and how these might influence their interpretation of the data. They might also document their analytical process and decisions to ensure transparency and allow others to understand and critically evaluate their work. Point 2. Examples of integrated discourse analysis. Example 1. Integrated analysis in education research. Understanding language use in multilingual classrooms. Integrated discourse analysis can be used to study language use in multilingual classrooms, combining micro-level analysis of interactional dynamics with macro-level analysis of language policies and cultural contexts. Example: a study might analyze how teachers use code switching between languages, during lessons to facilitate understanding and manage classroom behavior, micro-level. It could also examine how these practices reflect broader language policies and cultural attitudes toward multilingualism, macro-level, considering how different educational systems and societies value or devalue multilingual education. Example 2. Integrated analysis in health communication. Examining doctor-patient interactions. Integrated discourse analysis can be used to study doctor-patient interactions, combining qualitative analysis of communication strategies with quantitative analysis of language features to understand how medical discourse constructs power and authority. Example: researchers might use qualitative methods to analyze how doctors use language to explain diagnoses, give instructions, and manage patient expectations, exploring how these strategies reflect power dynamics and professional authority. Quantitative methods could be used to measure the frequency of medical jargon versus layman's terms, providing insights into how different language choices affect patient understanding and trust. Example 3. Integrated analysis in political discourse. Exploring media representations of political events. Integrated discourse analysis can be used to study media representations of political events, combining linguistic analysis of framing devices with critical analysis of ideological biases and power relations. Example: a study might use quantitative content analysis to identify the most common words and phrases used to describe a political protest in different media outlets. Qualitative analysis could then explore how these words and phrases are used to construct different narratives about the protest, examining how these narratives reflect ideological biases and serve to reinforce or challenge power structures. Example 4. Integrated analysis in environmental communication. Analyzing public discourse on climate change. Integrated discourse analysis can be used to study public discourse on climate change, combining thematic analysis of public statements and media reports with critical analysis of environmental ideologies and policy debates. Example: researchers might use qualitative methods to analyze how different stakeholders, e.g., politicians, scientists, activists, frame climate change in public statements and media reports, exploring how these frames reflect competing environmental ideologies and policy positions. Quantitative methods could be used to measure the frequency and co-occurrence of key terms, providing insights into how different frames are constructed and circulated in public discourse. Example 5. Integrated analysis in gender studies. Examining gendered communication in professional settings. Integrated discourse analysis can be used to study gendered communication in professional settings, combining conversation analysis of workplace interactions with critical analysis of gender norms and power dynamics. Example: a study might analyze how men and women use language differently in meetings, using conversation analysis to examine turn-taking, interruptions, and politeness strategies, micro-level. It could also explore how these interactional patterns reflect and reinforce broader gender norms and power dynamics in the workplace, macro-level, considering how different organizational cultures and societal expectations shape gendered communication. Conclusion: integrated discourse analysis offers a comprehensive approach to studying language use, combining multiple methods, theories, and levels of analysis to provide a holistic understanding of discourse. By bridging micro-level and macro-level analyses, incorporating diverse theoretical perspectives, and combining qualitative and quantitative methods, integrated discourse analysis allows researchers to explore the complexities of language and its role in constructing social realities, identities, and power relations. This approach is particularly valuable for examining complex social phenomena, providing nuanced insights into how language shapes and is shaped by social, cultural, and historical contexts. Frequently asked questions. What is integrated discourse analysis? Integrated discourse analysis combines various methodologies and theoretical frameworks to examine language use in both specific interactions and broader social contexts. It integrates micro-level and macro-level analyses, and often incorporates both qualitative and quantitative methods to offer a comprehensive understanding of discourse. How does integrated discourse analysis combine micro and macro-level analysis? Micro-level analysis focuses on detailed aspects of language use, such as grammar, vocabulary, and conversation structure, while macro-level analysis explores how discourse reflects societal structures, power relations, and ideologies. Combining both levels provides a fuller understanding of how language functions in society. What theoretical perspectives does integrated discourse analysis incorporate? It draws from multiple frameworks, including linguistic analysis, structural aspects of language, sociolinguistic perspectives, how social factors influence language, and critical theories like critical discourse analysis, CDA, which examines power and ideology in language. How are qualitative and quantitative methods combined in integrated discourse analysis? Quantitative methods identify broad patterns and trends, e.g., word frequencies, collocations, while qualitative methods interpret the meanings, functions, and social implications of these patterns. This combination enhances both the breadth and depth of the analysis. What is the role of contextual analysis in integrated discourse analysis? Contextual analysis examines language use in both immediate settings, e.g., specific interactions, and broader societal, cultural, and historical contexts. This approach helps understand how discourse is influenced by and contributes to social norms, cultural values, and power structures. Why is integrated discourse analysis considered a flexible approach? It adapts to different research questions and contexts, allowing researchers to use various methods and theories suited to their objectives. The iterative process lets researchers refine their approaches as new insights emerge during analysis. How does integrated discourse analysis emphasize critical reflexivity? Researchers reflect on their own biases, assumptions, and positionality in the research process, ensuring transparency in their analytical decisions and acknowledging how their perspectives may influence their findings. How is integrated discourse analysis applied in education research? It might combine micro-level analysis of teacher-student interactions with macro-level analysis of how these interactions reflect broader educational policies, cultural attitudes toward language use, and power dynamics in multilingual classrooms. How does integrated discourse analysis examine media representations of political events? Quantitative analysis can identify common words and phrases used to describe political events, while qualitative analysis explores how these terms construct narratives, revealing ideological biases and how they reinforce or challenge societal power structures. What makes integrated discourse analysis valuable for complex social phenomena? By integrating multiple methods, levels of analysis, and theoretical perspectives, integrated discourse analysis provides a holistic and nuanced understanding of how language constructs social realities, identities, and power relations. This makes it particularly effective for analyzing multifaceted social issues.